This is In Step with Compliance, a podcast by the Modern Practice Solutions team for dental professionals.
Welcome to In Step with Compliance, sponsored by Modern Practice Solutions. My name is Olivia Wan, and I'll be your moderator today. In this episode, we are addressing the question, can I leave a voicemail or a message with a family member if a patient doesn't answer the phone for their appointment reminder? Well, the short answer is yes, you can leave a voice message or a voicemail with a family member, but there are some important things to keep in mind to protect the patient's privacy and to comply with HIPAA guidelines. To get us started, let's consult with Caitlin, one of our consultants, about leaving a voicemail. What are some thoughts that you can share with us, Caitlin?
Yeah, so the HIPAA regulations do try not to be so constricting that you can't practice healthcare. And to that end, they do allow you to do some really basic things to communicate with your patients. One of those is leaving a voicemail. So if you need to, for example, remind a patient that they have a prophy appointment tomorrow, you call them, they don't answer, you are permitted to leave them a brief reminder, perhaps ask them to call back and confirm their appointment. The Department of Health and Human Services, though, does issue a little bit of guidance here. They recommend keeping that message to the minimum necessary information. So if you need to tell them they have an appointment tomorrow, just say that. Don't go into details. Don't say, Mrs. So-and-so, this is your dental office calling to inform you that you have an appointment for the extraction of tooth number 8 tomorrow morning. We just want to say, you've got an appointment. Give us a call back. Kind of as with everything privacy related, keep it to the minimum necessary information.
Good information. Thank you, Caitlin. So keep it at a minimum. All right, leaving a message with a family member. How do you feel about that, Brenda?
If a family member answers the phone, you can share related information related to the patient's care as long as it's in the patient's best interest. And as Caitlin was just sharing with us, it's important to be cautious about the amount of information that we disclose. But for example, if a family member is helping with the patient's care, you can share necessary details. Other than that, you would want to be as minimal as possible, just letting them know that an appointment is scheduled and that they should contact the office to confirm.
I think that in this day and age, most people are using mobile phones, and the patient registration form should capture that we can leave messages and appointment reminders via text. That's the best way to communicate with people anymore in this day and age and culture. But we still have older patients who have a landline. And let's give an example of maybe the older patient had some oral surgery, and you reach out to the patient to find out how they're feeling, and their adult child answers the phone, and the simple message is just checking to see how Jane Doe is feeling. That's it. Very generic. So yes, definitely be cautious when we're leaving messages or speaking with a family member. So Terry, what about honoring the patient's wishes, especially if they have defined that? And it should. The patient consent form should have a box or a space letting us know how we should communicate. What are your thoughts on that?
As always, we must honor our patient's wishes, whether that be communication or other entities that occur in the office. But if the patient has specifically requested that the office do not communicate via telephone, voicemail, or message, the office must use alternative methods if possible.
And Terry, I'm thinking about an example that actually occurred some years back where the female patient did not want appointments confirmed at her house because she was having extensive cosmetic surgery and did not want her spouse to know about that. So I would think that if they did not want us to use that number, just make sure there's some special notes that we don't mess up. So if they don't want us to use that phone number to communicate, I wouldn't even put it in the system. Maybe have it in the notes with a directive of not using it. So we want to honor the patient's wishes on how they want us to communicate with them. And if they do not want us to communicate via their mobile phone or leaving messages, then we have to use those alternative details, as you mentioned, Terry. So we want to protect patients' privacy, and also when they choose to restrict how information is shared with them. So we hope that this episode was helpful in understanding whether or not we should leave a voicemail or a message with a family member. Thanks again for tuning in, and we look forward to working with you in the future.